Kyrie and Dion stuff coming out of the Cavs last year, but because now you're going to a superstar level here, and this is the backside of that Frankenstein experiment. I mean, yeah, the Cavaliers, for their troubles and their ups and downs and early season chemistry issues with each other, never had issues like this. I mean, this thing is quickly spiraling from bad to worse to unbelievable with what's going on. And it's not just Tim Hardaway and Carmelo Anthony. It's Carmelo Anthony against the Knicks, it appears at this point. A lot of problems there. But that is what happens when it all goes the other way. And I got to tell you, I mean, I know there's some of you out there. Some of you guys and I have had the Carmelo Anthony talk before. I don't think he is all that at all. LeBron, I got personal deals, but basketball is different. I have never been on the Carmelo Anthony bandwagon, man. I just always thought he was a totally all about me cat, no matter where he was, and I was just never into that guy. But anyways, that's the opposite of what is hopefully going to be the results here in Cleveland. But you got nowhere near that level of dysfunction, and I would threaten to say you've got bigger stars that you're dealing with here in the Cavaliers grouping than you do over there. But, even through that early season stuff, the Cavaliers emerge from it, and here they sit now. And I say this every day through this winning streak here. I keep going, there's so much more. And you saw it through 3 quarters of last night's game. There's still so much more for this team to learn and grow and do with each other, because they were getting handled. I mean, were they down, 8 points at halftime? And at one point it was down to 12, 14 points at the worst before it started to cut back. Fourth quarter is when the Cavs made their hay defensively. And in the beginning of the game, the Cavs, Toronto's shooting almost 65% in the first half of that game, but the Cavs turned it up defensively in the fourth quarter, really locked things down, and then used their defense to create their offense, which is one of the things we talk about being one of the big things that's going to push that team and drive it to the next level. And I'll tell you what, I dug what LeBron said about it after the game, because it's the truth, and it's why I use that phrase, defense leads to your offense here with this team, because it's what you can control. It was like, talking about Kyrie Irving before. I said, man, you can't control what the media says. You can't control if people think you and LeBron don't get along, if people think you don't play defense. You can't control what people think, but you can control what kind of defense you play. You can get out there and lay it out on the floor every night, and then people have no choice but to go, man, Kyrie's playing some defense. You can't put the blame on him for this, that, whatever. Same thing there. But basically that's what LeBron said. That what you do on defense, how you put effort out, that is how you control it, and that really did get him going last night. LeBron, by the way, tied Mark Price, which sounds funny, but LeBron has been a 3-point, not a specialist, but he's been a 3-point shooter for all of his career. 802 3-pointers, ties Mark Price for the franchise record. And yeah, Bruce, no free throws in the fourth. Maybe that was a little bit of home cooking for Toronto, but they changed the way they played too. And the Cavaliers buckled it down defensively, and they have not lost since they played Toronto at the house and it lost that double-digit lead. What was it, 18-point lead, whatever it was. And LeBron called the team fragile afterwards. That was kind of a breaking point for these guys where they started building things up. And in the early part of this winning streak, there were issues. This team was on the back-to-back and this and that. But, as I said, each night as it goes, and still a lot of work to go, because there's the Cavs at peak Cavs. When you see them, you go, man, that's the most beautiful basketball I've ever seen. But then there's the opposite of that, which is what you saw a lot of the first half and a lot of the lazy Cavs, the non-defending Cavs. When they stop flipping the switch and when it just is automatic all the time, that's when you'll have true peak Cavaliers. But still, it is scary to see when they do flip that switch defensively. And you hope as they watch tape that gets contagious with guys. They always say defense is supposed to be contagious, but again. And how about Deion Waiters? By the way, happy birthday to Deion Waiters. Followed up his 26 points with another good performance, 18 off the bench here for Deion. A couple of back-to-back nights. And Deli, Matthew Dellavedova, my man Deli. I'll tell you, I remember saying, I do remember saying, for those of you that think that LeBron will love playing with Deli. When he signed over the summer, I remember that was one of the names that we brought up, and I said, you watch. Everybody talks about this guy and the stars. What's he going to do with Deion? What's LeBron? How's he going to play with Kyrie and all that? I said, man, he's going to love playing with a guy like Deli. And really, you saw that just a couple of games getting him back out there. You can see. He's going to change that. He adds that, lengthens that rotation. Maybe, just as, what was he here? A couple of games before he got hurt. That was when the Cavs were still putting things together and still trying to learn each other in that very, very early season stuff that was going on. So I think Deli's going to be big as he works his way back in, continues to extend his minutes here, allowing Deion, as we said yesterday, to switch into his more natural role off the bench on that second unit there. And exactly, Deli is like Tristan. He doesn't care if he shoots the ball. He doesn't need plays run for him. He doesn't need any of the offensive stuff. And for a team with all the high usage guys, you have to balance it. It's like when we talk about the Indians payroll, you can't have a bunch of mid-range guys. You got to have a bunch of high-paid guys and a bunch of low-paid guys. Same thing there. When you've got all those high usage guys, you have to have, like a Andy, like a Tristan, like a Deli, guys that don't, they'll shoot the ball if you give it to them, but that doesn't matter if they don't. They're just playing the game and doing all the other stuff. And Deli's one of those guys, man. And LeBron said it last night. He said, I'll go to war with 12 of these guys, man. Give me 12 Delis, man, and I'll go out there. But it's true. And I said that last year when a lot of people were like, oh, look at this. This shows you how bad Mike Brown is. No other team would even have this Dellavedova. And no, Mike Brown did a lot of things wrong, but he was right about that. He said, look, these divas aren't hustling. Exactly, Bruce. They're not playing defense. This kid does all of that for me. He's going to take your minutes and some of your minutes and some of your minutes too. And that's what Deli did last year. He carved himself out a spot. And now I think guys are really appreciative, especially on a team like this where now a guy like Deli becomes an X factor. A guy like Tristan Thompson. You know what I mean? It's a little different on a team that's winning 28 games or something like that. But when you've got a contending team, then a guy like that is an X factor, and a guy like that is a pain in the neck for the other team to deal with, especially coming off the bench. Because now, think about it. You've got a bunch of energy guys coming off that bench. Now that you get Deli back into it, you get him, you get Waiters, you get, whether it's Thompson or Verjao, whichever one starts, the other guy's an energy guy coming off the bench. Just those three alone, man, that's a lot for, I know the Cavs bench has been maligned in the early part of the season, but it's getting together now, and this is part of it. They didn't have Deli. That threw the rotations off in early season and injuries and all of that stuff. Older guys getting warmed up, but think about it. Those three guys coming off the bench together, all energy guys. And I'm with you, Vashawn. I don't think Mike Brown was bad either. I'm not saying, hey, I like David Blatt, but you guys know I liked Mike Brown. Absolutely did. And I thought if he didn't have all that money coming his way, I'd feel a lot worse for him. But he's good. He gets to watch his son play basketball and do it in a very well-paid fashion. And speaking of Byron Scott, it's one thing. I know it's one thing to be going through the rebuilding pains with the Cavs after LeBron leaves and you got all these draft picks and you're losing 50 games in a row and all that stuff. But, man, the cat goes to L.A. and it just follows him over there as well. He gets to be knee-deep in the Magic Johnson out there this morning saying, I hope the Lakers lose all their games. Kobe's like, that's ridiculous. I know he wants us to get higher draft picks, but we can't do that. But I see where they're coming from. Anytime a player tells you that he sees where they're coming from about it being not a bad idea to get the top draft pick, that makes me wonder how much does he see what they mean? Like, as in, does Kobe agree? Does he go, you know what, I'm just going to entertain the people and hopefully get a high draft pick, but we'll make sure people get their money's worth on this tickets? I'm just saying, You know, it's the circus coming to town in yellow and gold, or yellow and purple, gold and purple, whatever. But Cavaliers are right. Yeah, Byron Scott has coached 4 of the 5 worst teams in NBA history. B. Scott, man, there you go. 2 really, look at that. L.A. and New York, 2 big media circuses for the NBA, and they're both circuses on the basketball court as well. That stuff in New York, though, I'll tell you. It's ridiculous. I love the caption on one of the ESPN videos. It says, Phil Jackson doesn't like what he sees from the Knicks. That was the title of it. I'm like, really? Man, that talk about Captain Obvious in those commercials, hotels.com. Yeah, I would hope he doesn't like what he sees from the Knicks, because those guys are, man, dysfunctional is the word of the day over there, man, definitely. But, hey, we got our own chemistry set going on over here, and the Cavaliers. I've got to say, and I've talked to a lot of people that were very, oh man, the Cavs aren't going to do nothing this year, man. They're putting all their eggs in one basket, and it's not going to be. And you know, even those people are going, hey, I don't know what's going to happen in the future here, but if the Cavaliers continue to do what I'm seeing, man, it's hard to think that they don't have a chance, because you are seeing what they can be at their best, but you're still seeing they easily slip back into those tenets of not playing good defense, not hustling, relying on their athleticism, all of that stuff, you know? So you still got a lot of that, but you're seeing, and hopefully I think they're seeing what they can be at their peak. And like I was saying yesterday, guys, I just think they're seeing how instead of throwing the whole Kyrie Irving, the whole Dion Waiters on the floor and making it fit into the team, these guys like Tristan, like we were saying, they're looking and going, man, they don't need the whole Dion. They need this part of Dion, this part of Kyrie, this part of that. You know what I'm saying? But now guys are doing that. Guys are looking at it more like, how can I fit what I do into the group, instead of how can I fit my whole game into the group? Because that's never going to work. That part of it's never going to work. It's when each guy figures out, you need to see, I've got 5. I've got A, B, C, D, and E. But you only need B, C, and D from me. You need A and B from this guy. You need D and E from this guy. You know what I'm saying? Put it all together. You got alphabet soup, and hopefully it spells out championship. But it's fun to watch. It's definitely a lot more fun than what we've been watching down there for the last couple of years, that's for sure. Cavs winning streak, by the way, 8 in a row. They haven't won that many in a row since May of 2010, which, of course, was before the dark days of the last couple of years here. Cavaliers continue to roll now. 8 victories in a row. We'll talk to Eddie Jansen from More Than a Fan Cleveland later on this week. We'll talk some more Cavaliers. I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, you know what? I've got phones coming in. Let's take a couple of phone calls. John McMullen from the Sports Network is going to join us about 15 minutes from now, but I've got time to take some phone calls, so I'm going to open them up for you. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. Your thoughts on the Cavaliers last night, on Johnny football, as we're going to segue the conversation that way as well. John Manziel will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns this week. And, hey, you know what? Does the legend begin against the Bengals or the other side of it, which is, you know, devil's advocate? There's a good and a bad. But seriously, having some fun with it? Who knows? Until Sunday, that's the beauty of the unknown. We'll talk about that. Take your calls, 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. Talking Cavs. Talking Johnny football. John McMullen from the Sports Network coming up just a few moments from now, 15 minutes from now. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan coming up in hour 2, and so much more when we come back. Don't go anywhere, and tell somebody else to join us when we come back next with the Sports Fix.
How you gonna do it if you really won't take a chance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up on the wall. Listen, baby, you know it.
The Sports Fix, the show that asks the question,
what you talking about, Lou? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou?
We'll be right back.
Sports Fix listeners, you've heard me talking about it. Millionaires being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. I've been playing there too. It's now J-Rock's favorite one-week fantasy football site. What's one-week fantasy football? That means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Have a player who's